So is it as good as the book?
50 Shades Darker by E.L. Gray. It was definitely closer to the book than the first movie was, much to its detriment. The lady next to us was excited. After when you got up to go get concessions, she turns to me and she goes, "He is such a sweetheart to come to this movie with you." I'm like, he sure is.
I should have, if I was there to turn it out like, right? Her husband's a dick. Saying that like I'm here just because Dave didn't want to come. I'd have been here anyway.
Dave, please come see 50 Shades Darker with me.
Some Brad.
I wish I could, but someone's gonna watch the baby.
You could have brought the baby along.
She would have liked this movie.
The lady sitting next to me
She's been watching Breaking Bad. Sorry, go
there you go. The lady sitting next to me, is that the lady you're referring to?
Yes.
She was like one of those audience members where you could tell she was a fan of the book because when she was anticipating that something was going to happen, not that something had happened yet, which is weird because nothing happens in this, but whenever something kind of would about to, something that she recognized, she would be sitting next to me and just going, just like every other scene in this movie. If someone is about to get slapped, if someone's about to get a drink thrown in their face, if they're about to fuck, if they're about to say something stupid, just the lady next to me,
I mean, you were about to say something would about to happen, which I feel would be a very good descriptor of the noise that kept like rippling through the audience, just kind of like a ha 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 ha, a laugh, but like a knowing laugh, a bullshit smug knowing laugh that was somehow worse than just abject silence.
I didn't hear a lot of that. Like, you heard more of that than I did.
Well, because I think that I also knew something was about to happen.
Well, you have read the book.
Yeah, so like, I'd be like, oh yes, this is the part where that thing happens, and behind me I'd hear,
That was you, wasn't it?
It was.
I get it, you read this shit. God damn.
You left during the dumbest part. If I had known, I would have been
Really?
Like, stop,
I
wait.
missed the dumbest
You
part of this
absolutely
movie.
missed the dumbest part of
fuck
this
was
movie.
that? This movie has a line in it that's so bad that I literally went, wow, in the theater.
Which line was that?
Oh, God. When she's sitting there and says, here I am trying to be romantic and you're distracting me with your kinky fuckery.
Kinky fuckery. That was a line from the book.
I'll bet it was. It felt like it was. There's a line later on when a character says, he needs a submissive in life, not just a submissive in bed.
That line was not in the book. They made some weird choices in terms of the stuff they changed in this movie, but we can get to that. The kinky fuckery thing is like a running joke throughout the book, like the Later's babe from the first one. So be glad it only happened the once.
I seriously was just like my brain shut down when that line was said, and I didn't know how to react. I was like, that did not just happen, and it was honestly like it. I actually kind of had the same reaction in the first one when he says I'm 50 shades of fucked up, and then in this they top that with a line that says kinky fuckery.
And it's not even during like a kinky fuckery scene. He's like kissing her belly. And she's like, kinky fuckery.
Yeah, kinky. He gives her a fucking belly button job. I saw that in 50 Shades of Black.
Stop reminding me that movie
Well,
exists.
now that movie didn't do very well, so there's not going to be a 50 Shades
50
Blacker.
Shades Blacker.
Lord knows what they would have done with the title 50 Shades Freed.
50 Shades Freed, like the slaves.
That's always have been what it was. Comma, like the slaves. The first movie is bad. The first movie didn't make my worst list. It was bad. But it was mostly just boring and uninteresting.
And it to some extent rose above the material because of the efforts of, first of all, it had a really good soundtrack. Second of all, Dakota Johnson was acting her little tush off. And third of all, whoever directed the movie had the foresight to change a shit ton of stuff.
Yeah, and I saw 10 movies that year that were way worse. Like, probably 20 movies, honestly. It made a bunch of worse lists that year. It didn't make mine. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's bad. I I've just seen a lot worse. Fuck this movie. Fuck this movie hard. This movie's bullshit.
Yeah. Well, Laura asked me if I was excited for this one. And to some extent, I suppose I was, just because of the build-up. But the book for this one is just so boring.
So is this movie.
And the movie is also boring. That like they definitely know what side of the bread is buttered on. Mm-hmm. Because the sex scenes are very well done and pretty sexy and
except they just end.
Super long. Like,
really? You thought they were long?
Yeah, the sex scenes were, dude, that, like, if it was an actual movie, it would have been like, okay, there's her boobs, and then there's a hump, and then we're cutting to them just laying in the bed.
Yeah, I mean...
This is like, let's watch this humping for a while, see where they're going.
Right, but they all just kind of abruptly end like someone sat on the remote. And then it'll just cut to like, oh, then they're having breakfast or something like that.
Because ladies don't give two shits about the money shot.
Yeah, well, it's not that like, oh, it's not that I expected to see him ejaculate on screen. Like,
No, that's how I'm interpreting it.
It's not that, but they just end, and so I'm sitting there watching this, like, I kind of know why a movie like this is going to be successful and why the movie was so successful. And it's because there just aren't a lot of movies like this anymore. Mm-hmm. There aren't. Like, and if there were, this and the first one would be quickly forgotten. Like, 20 years ago...
Like a sort of Red Shoe Diaries sort of thing?
No, well, like 20 plus years ago, like, in the 90s, even the 80s, there was a movie, there was like an erotic thriller, like every other weekend there'd be something out. Mm-hmm. So there were good ones and there were bad ones. If this movie came out like 20-some years ago, it'd be like Color of Night with Bruce Willis, where it would just go away, like, and like no one would see it. But because
an erotic thriller starring Bruce Willis,
you know what, it is kind of amazing. It's like
I know I'm sold already.
It's got Scott Bakula in it. It makes no fucking sense whatsoever. It's way better than this, but of that era, it's like, yeah, that's one of the bad ones. Like Basic Instinct and Body Heat would be like the good ones, and then there was shit like Color of Night. There really are no good ones of movies like this now. There's just this.
The Loft, I suppose.
That was a bad one.
You know, I'm just trying to think of erotic thrillers that have come out in the past 10 years or so.
Yeah, The Loft, you know.
It's like literally all I can come up with is The Loft.
Exactly. So like this, and like sex scenes were done way better in like the good one, even the bad ones, honestly, because at least the bad ones there'd be some pretty insane, like, okay, like Showgirls with that insane ass swimming pool scene. Like, there's nothing like that.
Don't have sex in a swimming pool. There's chemicals in there. Mm-hmm. But like, yeah, they're like, Jamie Dornan, throw some dick, and he's like, Roger. And so like those scenes, they were fine, and that they were what the ladies were there for.
No,
they were super into those scenes. But then there's also like this subplot of like a stalker broad.
Oh god.
And then also the subplot of the Mrs. Robinson character, and then also the subplot of the boss character.
Okay, subplot is the loosest of terms when it comes to stuff like that. What you see in the trailer of Kim Basinger, the stalker girl who's following him around.
Leela or Layla, depending on who's talking about her.
Yeah, Leela. Oh, depending on what scene Jamie Dornan's accent changes. But so what you see of those and like the sleazy boss,
Mr. Hyde.
That's
get it?
For the love of God, that's really. They don't dig any deeper than what you see in the trailer. Like,
nope.
in the movie, the crazy girl's just following him around a couple of times, and what you see in the trailer when she pulls the gun on him, it doesn't go beyond that. She's not in the movie anymore after that. Like, Jamie Dornan puts her in a psychiatric hospital, and that's it for that character.
In the book, first of all, that was the only scene that the audience was surprised at, because the girl shot the gun and she didn't shoot the gun in the book. In the book, Jamie Dornan comes in, she flops over in a submissive pose like she did in the movie. He kicks out, what's-her-face?
Yeah.
Miss Steele. And then proceeds to take the submissive into the bathroom and give her a bath. Mm-hmm. And then, like, braids her hair like he does the submissives, and then takes her to the psychiatric hospital. And Anastasia's like, that's terrible, that's fucked up, why would you give some other woman a bath? And he's like, I don't know why you're stressed out about this.
Yeah, I don't know why she's shocked he would do that. Would be the least weird thing he does in this. Mm-hmm. This fucking character, this Christian Grey guy, it's like if I could hear I know the book is written from her thoughts point of view, but in this movie, it's like if I could hear her thoughts, it would all end with, yeah, but he's rich. Like, seriously, this guy's a fucking serial killer. This guy at the beginning, really, he's not the only sleazy guy in this movie, but like, at the beginning of this movie where there's an art exhibit going on where it's Anastasia Steele's pictures all put up with that's an issue in and of itself, but because
everyone's in love with her, including the photography guy.
Yeah, it's like, this is a lot of me on the wall. Yeah, great, right? Look, someone bought all the photos. And sure enough, creepy-ass Christian Grey walks in, buys all the giant photos of her, and then says to her, I don't like people ogling you. Like, really? This is creepy shit.
He is so much worse in the book, though. That's the thing.
He's bad in the movie,
like,
too.
watching him in the movie, it's a lot like in TV shows where there's, like, a super bad character, and then they make them turn nice because they're so popular with the audiences, like, Spike in the last season of Buffy and an Angel, or like Vegeta. These are all references that you get. But so like they'll have a scene where, you know, in the movie he's like, we should have this conversation about you going to New York. I don't think that you should, but of course I have no control of your life. But you know, if you'd like, you could go to New York with me and I could show you the sights. And she's like, great, I'm glad we discussed this as adults. In the book, he had bought her company already, and so he called the boss's boss and said, I don't think you should let assistants go on these New York trips. And they're like, sure, budget canceled. And that's how he solved that problem.
Okay, but in the movie, though, he takes her away from her boss and says, like, you're my property. Like, he's still bad in this.
Oh, yeah,
That's
no,
like,
I'm not saying that he's a good guy in this. I'm just saying that the fact that they tried to make him palatable kind of grossed me out more.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of figured that going in, that it was going to do shit like that, but, like, the difference between how he would be in the book and how he is in this movie sounds like the difference between, like, when you make a made-for-TV movie that's based on a serial killer and it's not quite as, like, graphic as if you read the book because it's a TV movie. Mm-hmm. It's like the movie adaptation of Bad Ronald, which is a great movie, but, like, they can't do, like, all the rape shit that's in the book. But in the movie, he is still coming out of the walls and spying on their children. It's like that. It's like, this is still a creepy dude. But he's rich, so he can get away with shit like this in the movie. Fuck this movie. Fuck this movie so hard. God damn, Anastasia Steele, one of the dumbest fucking characters.
So I have a question for you. From her meeting Christian Grey in the very first movie to him proposing and her accepting, what do you think we're looking at time frame wise?
It's hard enough for me to believe that he's 27, so I don't know. Like, what, a month?
5 weeks.
Yeah.
They were broken up for 2 days. Mm-hmm. And then, all told, they were together for 5 weeks, and then he proposed to her.
That's kind of like, you know what, like, when a long time passes between...
His family is excited for him.
Yeah, like, that just reminds me, like, when a long time passes between something, it's sort of like you should rewrite it to where it's much later. Remember how on Lost, when it would get to season 4, and we're still supposed to believe that, like, 3 seasons have all been in, like, 30 days or something like that? Like, don't do that.
I think they try to do that in this movie a little bit, because he said, a while ago I met Miss Anastasia Steele, whereas in the book it announced proudly that they'd only known each other for 5 weeks. Like, I was supposed to be like, oh, how romantic. Like Romeo and Juliet. Oh, well, that ended after all.
Yeah, fucking right. Jesus Christ. This movie, when I seriously went, fuck you to this movie, it wasn't the fact that it's a good thing he has money, because if he didn't, he'd be the Boston Strangler. So it kind of is a good thing this guy has money. Like, I've seen Jamie Dornan play a serial killer before, and he's kind of, it's on that show The Fall with, oh, god damn it, Gillian Anderson. He's really good on there because it's actually pretty good material. But he's playing a serial killer on it, so you kind of got to figure,
so
like,
it's the same, basically the same.
Yeah, it's like he ties up women and strangles them to death, but he's broke on that series. So that's his alternate universe. Christian Grey
doing like serial killer shit, but just glossing over them because we're supposed to be rooting for them as a couple. Like, oh, you know, I'm not a dominant, I'm a sadist. You know, I get off on hurting women who look like my crackhead mother. Anyway, let's go fly in my helicopter.
Well, he does have a helicopter. Okay.
His name is Charlie Tango.
God damn it.
I know that because of the books.
Where I seriously went, fuck you to this movie was the helicopter scene.
When his helicopter went down over Hanoi Bay or whatever.
It's like, wow, movie, you have less respect for this audience than I do, and I didn't think that was fucking possible.
It was in the book.
I'm sure it was, like...
But in the book, his co-pilot was a white guy, which is another thing that I thought was really strange about this movie, is that there were exactly 2 black characters. 3 counting Rita Ora. But the 2 that they shoehorned in there, one of which is a white dude in the book, very well in depth. We went into how white and dudely he was because he also had a crush on Anastasia. And then the black lady in the editor's office who wasn't even in the book. So I don't know if they decided there wasn't enough. Like,
well, you know, having Beyonce on the soundtrack of the first one, wouldn't it?
I think this one has The Weeknd, but
the soundtrack to this movie is awful.
yeah, apparently it was by Danny Elfman.
I don't mean like the musical score, because that was, I can't even remember that. But like, other than the one scene where they played Moon Dance by Van Morrison, which I did not expect.
Oh, the finger banging in the elevator
yeah,
scene.
like that just made me like, you're right, movie. I should be watching Werewolf in London right now. But it's a way sexier scene. So like, every other fucking stupid ass song that's kind of singing about what's going on. There was a song in this that's like, I'm your superwoman needs your superman.
I think that must have been Sia, but it was like sometimes Superwoman needs Superman's soul.
Needs Superman's soul.
And I was like, but they're cousins though. They shouldn't. But they're cousins.
Stupid.
It's very
so the fucking his fucking helicopter.
Super what? Okay.
His fucking helicopter goes down in like Mount St. Helens, and all the news stations are covering this. Like, he is missing. He's been missing for what, a day? I don't know.
In the book, it's just like overnight. There's no concept of time in this movie.
So the family and everyone is in his loft watching this on TV. All the news stations covering it, and then the news says, "Oh, it turns out he's fine." And
he's
once this happens,
quick,
he literally, it's not like time passes, then he walks in. No, it's the same scene. It was more believable when Bruce Wayne made it back to Gotham City from that whole prison that he was in like fucking India than this guy's helicopter going down in Mount St. Helens. I somehow made it back to New York, I guess, without anybody knowing about this. And then the news, I guess, what did his doorman leave an anonymous tip for the anchor on the news? Fuck this movie. Oh, God.
I knew ahead of time this movie was going to need to fuck itself, but I wanted to tell you about the part that you missed when you left.
Oh, right.
Because it's like she had come back, she had stormed back, still mad about him giving a what's-her-face a bath. And he's like, wait, don't leave me. And she's like, I'm not leaving you, I just need some space. He's like, don't leave me! And then flops onto the floor in that submissive pose that the submissive girl had been in. And she just like sits there like... She goes, wait, stop, what are you doing? Look at me! And then all was forgiven.
I'm presenting.
And he grabs his hand and puts it on her chest, which is like a running problem with this movie, is that she will introduce like actual issues in their relationships, stuff that bothers her, and he's like, I'm not going to fix that for you, but I tell you what, you can touch this area of my chest now.
That he has to draw on there with his fucking lipstick to draw his boundaries because she's an idiot. And then it's still there like 30 minutes later into the movie. Like, I forgot about it.
Like a day and a half movie time.
Yeah, I'm sitting there like, oh, that's still on there. Thanks for reminding me of that stupid thing that happened. This movie has scenes where he's all like, well, I guess I'm vanilla now or something. And 5 minutes later, he makes her put metal balls up her vagina and they go to a masquerade ball. And it's not like the masquerade ball from like Eyes Wide Shut. No, it's like a charity event his parents are throwing.
Yeah, this one and the first one have like this weird running, I wouldn't call it a theme, but like a running idea of taking her to his parents' parties and then being super inappropriate sexually at her. But then, like, that's another subplot of the movie is, hey, housewives, here's some sex toys that you can Google on the internet. It's like, hey, Benoit bar.
This movie...
Hey, a spreader bar. Blindfold.
this movie has product placement for that, but also literally has product placement for fucking Ben and Jerry's ice cream in one scene.
And,
Like,
well, yeah, there's the whole Ben and Jerry's cooler, but Chronicles of Riddick. Can you explain to me?
this might be the most unlikable thing about this character.
I loved it though.
Like, the fact that, like, this is how you know Christian Grey is a douche. He's got a fucking Chronicles of Riddick poster on his fucking wall. The only thing that would make me think he was a bigger douchebag would be if he had a Return of Xander Cage poster right next to it.
Because it wasn't Pitch Black.
Yeah,
It was
Pitch Black.
Chronicles of Riddick.
It was Chronicles of Riddick.
With Vin Diesel's big dumb round head on the front. Mm-hmm. And it was, it was his childhood bedroom, but Chronicles of Riddick was like the person who directed Chronicles of Riddick involved in this movie somehow? Was it supposed to be like an in-joke? Because it was so fucking random.
know.
I burst out laughing and I was the only person in that theater laughing. I felt terrible.
God damn. I don't even know what to compare that to. Like, I really don't. Like, they go into his room and there's a Babylon AD poster on the wall. Like, okay, you know what? I would actually kind of respect that a little bit. Because I'd be like, oh, you know what? Someone remembers that movie. Wasn't a good movie, but someone remembers it. That'd be like if you go to his bathroom and he's got a poster for Torque. You remember that fucking movie?
Nope.
Torque is the one that came out around when like Triple X first came out and Fantastic Four and all those, but Torque was the motorcycle one. And it had Dane Cook in it for one scene.
What? We should probably do previews.
There is something just so... I hate that so much. I don't know why. It's sort of, I just want to slap him.
I was grateful for that moment of hilarity because I was,
it was
so
funny.
Tired and bored by then.
It was funny. I don't know what else to say about this other than this movie can just completely go fuck itself.
So are you looking forward to the third one?
Yes.
You tie up all these loose plot lines?
Maybe they'll actually start a plot for once. These actors in this movie, God damn, I feel so sorry for them. I do, because I've seen Jamie Dornan be good in other things.
Dakota Johnson's pretty good in this. Like,
Dakota Johnson is likable in this because you can feel the contempt she has for every line she has to say.
well, plus, like, I think that she's got some funny lines in this.
She does.
When she's like driving the boat. And she's like, "Yeah, I'm doing it. I'm the captain." Or,
I'm the
"You're not
captain."
sticking those in my butt.
Yeah, she does that like she did in the first one, where it kind of feels like she's riffing the dialogue. And you're right, there are moments in this where she has a line that is supposed to be funny, that actually kind of is, because her comedic timing is good in that. A mixture of that, and again, you can tell she hates this shit. You can tell she is reading these lines in a way that is probably not the way it comes across in the book. Like, so when she said, like, "I'm the captain," you can feel the contempt she has for that line. And that makes it enjoyable. It does. That's one little small entertaining thing about this, and I said the same thing about the first one. But this Jamie Dornan, again, goddamn, I just feel so bad for these. They just want out of this so bad.
So I guess final thoughts.
Oh God, this is even worse than the first. This is hands down worse than the first one. This is insulting to women, to people in general, to businesses. There's a part where Dakota Johnson is standing there with a group of publishers and says, "You know, I have an idea. What if we started picking up authors who aren't our regular authors?
What if we try
Wow.
to start catering to the 18 to 24 crowd? They're like, what?
Yes, poor Bruce Altman shows up in this and he's like, "That's fucking genius." And he gives her the position of like fucking editor-in-chief because she started out as like dude's secretary and he gets fired, so then they give her that would be like Don Draper leaves Sterling Cooper Price and they give the job to his secretary.
No, it's like the Santa Claus in the publishing world. If you get the previous publisher fired, you become that publisher.
Yeah, that's totally what it felt like in this. I'm like, wow, when you're rivaling Tyler Perry on how you don't know how businesses work. That's my final thought on this. Fuck this movie.
My final thought is, ladies, if you're feeling frisky, Cut yourself down to the video store, I'm sure they still exist, and rent yourself Magic Mike XXL.
Yes.
Because that movie is hilarious and sexy and not the least bit insulting. I apologize for my sniffles. I'm probably going to get in trouble in the comments, but I keep getting the same fucking cold over and over again. So I hide over here and wipe my nose.
They'll be busy yelling at Brian for saying the word like a lot.
Ba-dum.
No, they do that. They do that like every week, like whenever Brian's in a video. Like
everyone gets in trouble for something. Brian gets in trouble for I get in trouble for sniffling. Instead of I have a cold. Because I usually have a cold.
Dave gets in trouble for being angry at something.
Dave gets in trouble for being so Dave about stuff.
I get in trouble for, I don't know, I was mad towards the remake of Ghostbusters.
There was a while where you were in trouble for doing cocaine, which is weird because you don't do cocaine, but...
I haven't done that in like 15 years. But in internet terms, it means I'm still addicted to it.
Yeah, so like doing it off screen, like I'm wiping my nose off screen. Beauty and the Beast, which looks really good. I'm excited.
With that movie, I'm like, I don't know why this exists. I feel that way. I
don't either, but it still looks good. Why does anything exist? Really?
No, really, why does this movie exist?
We are dust and then we die.
Why does that movie... I hope it's good, but every trailer for that and everything, I'm like... I've seen this movie before, and now it's live action. I don't care. I felt that way about the Jungle Book movie that just came out.
Jungle Book, man, but Beauty and the Beast, I can see it's part of my childhood, and I don't mind them doing it again with people that I like.
I think that movie's getting a huge pass on being a really unnecessary remake.
I think they've remade Spider-Man like 5 freaking times.
And those movies didn't get a free pass either. People bitched about those movies.
Well, bitch all you want then. I'm glad that they remade Spider-Man like 5 times because now we're going to get a good one.
No, that's, yeah.
How to Be a Latin Lover.
What was the audience really liked that?
I don't know. I thought it looked cute. It looked uncomfortably like, what was that one? Deuce Bigalow, Male Gigolo.
It looked like a cross between Deuce Bigalow, Male Gigolo, and The Love Guru.
But like it's got like Salma Hayek in it, and the preview made me laugh a couple times, so maybe it's gonna be good. I think they didn't know what previews to throw at this audience.
They didn't.
They picked anything with sex or women in it.
I can't believe we didn't get a trailer for like Despicable Me 3 in front of this. How random they all were.
Baywatch.
That actually looks pretty funny.
It looks really funny. Life. That
was a new trailer for that.
I was looking at my phone for that part. I'm not going to the
it still looks like
movies.
It still looks like an Alien knockoff, but given the cast it has, like I'm like, well, maybe it's pretty good unless they all got together and like, let's do a shitty Alien knockoff movie just for fun.
They did it like Adam Sandler, where they all wanted to go to space, so they're like, let's just do a space movie, and then we'll get to go right at like the vomit comment or whatever.
That'd be like, you guys are too rich.
Snatched.
What the fuck was Snatched?
That was Goldie Hawn and Amy Schumer.
The Amy yeah.
From the makers of Heat and
Spy.
Yeah.
This is from the same producer.
I like both of those movies, but this did not appeal to me at all.
The only thing that appeals to me about this is just that, like, oh, it's Goldie Hawn back in a movie again. Like, it's like, all right, well, I like seeing Goldie Hawn come back, but I don't know, that didn't look very good.
We were watching the movie the other night where she's in charge of a football team.
Wildcats?
Yeah,
I remember
really
that.
Good. I liked it.
And Woody Harrelson and like Wesley Snipes
tiny
was in
baby
that.
Woody Harrelson, tiny baby Wesley Snipes, and she's all like, "I'm a football coach." Her husband's like, "No, you're not neither."
There's one from around from the 80s where it was Helen Hunt is a high school student who gets put on the football team. And because I don't know, maybe they just really like the title and like, let's make this. The name of the movie is Quarterback Princess.
Sure, why not?
I remember Wildcats being better.
But yeah, no, it's one of those great 80s movies where, like, you know, they're being kind of goofy and zany, and the character would come out and be like, "You owe me 20 push-ups, you pussies." Goldie, he's so crazy.
Goldie's crazy.
Wonder Woman.
It's same trailer for it.
I probably won't be.
I got my fingers crossed, man.
The Great Wall.
That was like a 10-second trailer for that. They just threw that in there.
Why do they think we care?
I do. I'm excited for that. I've been wondering why that wall was put up for years. And now I know.
The Zookeeper's Wife.
You know, when a movie like that is not coming out in Oscar season. I'm guessing it's not great.
Which is too, because Daniel Bruhl, I love him. And first of all, he needs to stop fucking playing Nazis. But he can speak German, and I think that's the reason he keeps getting cast as Nazis. But he that Rush movie we watched that was so good.
Yeah, Rush was great.
But then, right after The Zookeeper's Wife, which is about smuggling children away from the Nazis, we saw the preview for Girls Trip.
Fuck that!
From the makers of Best Man Christmas Party.
Best Man Holiday, thank you very much.
And it was like the group of 4 gals gonna go get their groove back in Louisiana, I guess they must have been in.
Probably,
Bourbon Street.
Yeah.
And then one of them's all prim and uptight. They're gonna teach her to get out of her shell and suck some dicks, because that's what girls do when they go on a trip.
In this movie's terms, she pees on everybody.
They hang, it's Mr. Bean style zaniness, except then she pees on stuff.
Yeah, she gets caught on a zip line above like Bourbon Street and pees on everyone on it. That looked terrible.
There's a Dave and Brian movie.
I was thinking the same thing.
The only thing that made me laugh for that trailer was thinking of Dave and Brian going to see that movie.
So like,
They're gonna hate it.
I laugh at the end of I always laugh at the end of the Wonder Woman trailer because of all the people who hate the Wonder Woman movie theme. Like, I know a lot of people who hate the Wonder Woman movie theme.
Wonder Woman?
No, not that. Not the TV theme. The one like that guitar riff that they use in the trailers for Wonder Woman. Also in Batman v Superman when she showed up in the fight and started playing that guitar riff. And so many people hate that theme so much that it makes me laugh every time it shows up in the trailer, because the trailer goes along. And you kind of forget that that's even the theme until the title pops up and it gets really quiet, and then so I'm just like picturing people who hate that theme just sitting there like, oh, this looks alright. God damn it! I honestly don't mind I honestly don't mind that theme, really. Because I'm like, you know what? There aren't a lot of memorable superhero themes anymore, as good or bad as some of them as the movies may be. Usually the theme music in them's really just kind of forgettable, and it's whatever generic action movie music. You know what? At least in this case, I'm like, yeah, I know that theme.
On that note, bye!
Was that it? Was that the last trailer we got?
It's 10:01, my friend. You need to go to another movie.
How's Brian at?
Maybe you need to go to another movie.
Maybe. We'll see. Alright, later.
Bye!